Good morning, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for joining us. We got a lot to talk about today, so I appreciate you joining us. We're going to get right into it. This is ZENcast Live. We're going to be covering the ZSD Portal management today and how to do different things in the portal to present to your customers and to your technicians, as well as administrators. So we are going to You may ask what ZENcast Live is. It's for ZenWorks administrators, ZenWorks community, anybody interested in ZenWorks at all. ZenWorks service desk that we're covering today is part of the ZenWorks suite, or you can buy it individually. It's a help desk product. We meet on the first and third Tuesday at 9 Mountain Time, US. So just wanted to let you know that the details and recordings will be out on the YouTube channel. Support the Open Text Support and Training channel out on YouTube, and they'll be posted with links within them. I'm going to go ahead in the chat. Good morning, Don. I'm going to go ahead and in the chat put the PDF for today so you can follow along. Thank you, Jose, for coming in CIS Text. And then I'm also going to put in a best practices webinar that was out there that Oliver did for us. It was actually the webinar series, not the ZENcast series. So I put those both in the chat. Feel free to use those as needed. So a little bit of housekeeping first. Be sure to log into YouTube so we can chat live. Subscriptions, notifications, so you know when we're coming live. You can put in the comments. Make sure we're hitting our marks with those likes or unlikes. And then, of course, the best viewing is Auto 720p60. If you're watching the recording, again, the links to this download and links to references and other PDFs will be in the description of the video. And that, again, is on the support and training site for OpenText. Shout out in chat if you have any questions, and we're going to get started on some of the details. First thing we do is tidbits and crumbs. The yellows are the new stuff. So I'm starting to highlight those that are new. I kind of keep some of the newer old stuff still there, so I rotate them out. But I just want to let you know that these have been updated. Now you may say, oh, the Customization Cookbook is old. Well, it's been updated. So if you see them in gold or yellow, you'll see that they have been updated. But these are some of the new ones that came in for ZCM. Let me move this over here. Over here. Okay. So there's things like MSTSCs failing, not enough free space with UFI. So be aware that some of these things, they may pertain to what you're experiencing or not, but also they have great information in them. Okay. How to verify on-demand patches and contents. Advanced patch migration. As you know, May 31st, we moved over to the advanced patch feed. For the past year and a half, 2 years, we've been mentioning this to you that this was going to happen, and now that you've migrated over, this may have some good details for you. So if we have those TIDs as well. And if you haven't, well, we'll proceed with that in a minute. And then we have some bits. These are more of generic stuff like ZRS logs for troubleshooting, not so much TIDs as they are as information and knowledge. Verbose debugging from patch management and so forth, right? How to collect anti-malware logs. Okay, so these are the TIDs out there that you can easily access. I try and put the newest ones in here or the updated ones in here so that you can see what's going on in the background with support. Okay, some of the crumbs that we have, monthly webinar topics. We do have some monthly webinar topics out there. You could see what we've done with some of these. Let me get this a little bit bigger for you. And you can see that we've had some topics out here. We did Linux management using ZenWorks just this last week or so, or in June. We're still in June. Yeah, it's going to happen next week. So with some links, and you're welcome to sign up for those particular webinars if you want to be there live to ask questions. But otherwise, you can get the links here. All right. There is Hybrid Workspaces technical training out there as well. It's out on the YouTube support and training site. And then we have some partner-led training for ZCM administration courses. So if you're looking for that, be aware that there are some. This was May. They're having more in June, and they're even having some more this next week or two. Okay, and then OpenText TTP USA 2024. If you're in the area or want to go, this is a place to register. You'll see not only topics about the OpenText products, but also how customers are using the OpenText products, and sometimes even how they're using to manage their environments. So if you're not able to make it, there will be some recordings that you could go to after it's over. But in the meantime, there's a workshop the first 2 days on ZenWorks, and it's hands-on as well as other things. You can see there's a whole, I don't have the list here. I'll do that for next time. But there's a whole list of different topics that they're going to be running through: Filer, iPrint, GroupWise, and other things like DNS and things like that. Okay. So if you wanted to see some of the old stuff, you can. There's recordings that you can go to see, like the OpenText World 2024 is coming up, and then we have recordings on this next slide here. Finally, the reminders. 8.3, Service Desk 8.3 is out of support, so be sure to update. ZenWorks. Let's just type in ZenWorks. Let me make this a little bigger for you. And we'll go to Service Desk. So you can see 8X expired September last year. 23 is going to expire in 2026 and 2027. So you're good there. Just get from 8.x to 23 and you're good. Then test out the rest to get to the latest version. The ZCM 2020 obviously expired January. Let's go to Configuration Management. January, but the 23X is still through 2026. All right. Old patch feeds, you know, it ended May 31st. Here's an article on this and what to do. There's a bunch of videos out there. Also, if you go to the documentation site, you can see the videos. And then the Windows primary servers, end of life for supporting those, the last version is 23.4. Okay, you can remain on 23.4 up through 2026, but in order to get to the next version, you need to do the migration for the primary servers that are Windows based. Now, we still support them as managed devices, just the Windows primary servers. Okay, this will help cut down on development costs and so forth. All right, and there is a primary server migration tool. I'm working on getting that so we can present that as well. Next time, next ZENcast is going to be the version 24.2, ZCM 24.2 release, and we could see what's new, and maybe they'll show some of that as well, the primary server migration. But the migration tool will be released also by that time. But we'll see what's new next ZENcast. A little bit of recap. Last time we talked about more ZCM bundle management. We talked about details of the ZMD messages log. Got a little bit into the ZMD messages log. What ID99 is, that's when the agent's starting up. So it's a good place to look for if you're trying to see what's happening from the very get-go. And then the process numbers, how you track those, and you could see what's going on for that particular process if it's failing. And then logging configuration, we talked a little bit about debug, archiving, making those files bigger, having more of them, retrieving the logs in 24.2, which we'll see next time. You can actually retrieve the logs through the console now. All right. And that will be in version 24.2, which is really cool. And then the master KB logging article has been updated a few times recently with a few more TIDs, and it looks similar to the cookbook, but it has different topics, and then it'll take you to those areas that you may want to determine what's going on with if you're having a problem with remote management or the database. Maybe you got some clues here. Okay. And then subscribe and share. We talked a little bit about subscribing and sharing, how we're starting to put a zone out there that you can get bundles transferred to your zone to test, modify, and use if you so need. Okay. And then tools, we talked a little bit about Notepad++ and Craig Wilson's bookmarks, he's been obviously doing this a long time, and he has some bookmarks about the ZCM bundles and other products as well. All right. Agenda for today. We got a few things going on today, so I really want to get started. I'm real excited. We got console portal types. We're going to cover those. We'll start with the easy ones, the Appliance Console, the Appliance Portal, Public Portal. We'll get into the Technician Portal, Customer Portal, and Administration Portal. So probably didn't know there's like 5 or 6 portals, right? There actually are, but the primary ones obviously are the Technician and Customer Portal. Okay. And then, of course, the Branding Customization Cookbook is constantly being updated. It's an evolving document, as well as the Best Practices webinar, which is out on YouTube, and the links in this document. Again, I put it in the chat for the links to both the Best Practices webinar and this particular slide deck that you're seeing here. We have a few resources, but I'm going to go back just a hair, and I got a few things to cover. So let's start off. Let's go full screen. We can close a few of these things. I had a couple of these things open already. So there we go. We're back to where we want to be. All right, so we're going to basically go full screen so that we can get the full view. We're going to let's see, we're going to go to the Appliance Portal. Oh, if I could type. Okay. I'm going out to my ESX server. And we will look at one of my virtual machines, which I think it's this one. Not that one. Let's go to, where are we? 86, I think is the one. That's another one. We got that one up good. And make sure we got 88 up. I'm just checking. I thought I had these up. I want to make sure. And 84. Okay. So let me see if I can get over to one other set. SV100, go, and this is what I was actually looking for, my 150. So the very first thing on my list is the Appliance Console. This is the console, obviously not the Appliance Portal, but the console. And you can see that I've customized this. And in the Customization Cookbook, I'll reference to the Customization Cookbook quite often in this because all the TIDs, we try and keep all the TIDs there, right? So no sense going over the specific details when we have that reference in there, but if you're interested in the console, you can modify the issues, the Etsy issues file, and you can modify it for what you need to look at here. And you can see I've done it different ways, and just so it helps me out because when I go to the console, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm on the right one, right? So it just kind of helps out there. So the other thing is a root. If we log in as root, and then SD admin will also log in. Now, when you install ZenWorks Service Desk, you have the option to put those passwords in for root and SD admin. Okay, so both of those will work. We're gonna that's just real quick. I'm trying to go through the short ones first because we got a lot of good stuff towards the end here. So that's 160. what's next? The administration portal. So let's go ahead and close this. And to get to that, we can go 192.168.160:9443, right? That's that HTTPS colon. Okay, so now we're going to go to the appliance portal. And again, you can log in as root. Okay. Notice we have 10 buttons on top, 5 on the bottom, right? And I say that because if you don't want to expose some of those details, you can give your administrators SD admin, and this is everything pertaining to service desk pretty much. Being able to turn on the system services, do an online update. So if you need that security, notice there's only 5 on top here. So let me go ahead and log out and come in as root so you can see some of the other details that we have. And most of those other 5 icons are things like storage, digital certificates that you may not want them touching, firewall, time, and network. Okay, those are the 5. All right. So with the administration portal or the appliance portal, you understand that there's both options for root and for SD admin. You may be asked if system services, by default, system services is SSH is off. Okay, so let's set that to off, stop. Okay, all right. So now if you're in here, you log in here, or your admin logs in here and you're trying to go to terminal and file, it needs SSH. So it's going to tell you, turn on the SSH. Well, that's done. If you're trying to go to the terminal, that's done right here in the system services, and you could turn those on. Okay, options. I have it starting automatically. Okay, so now we can get to the terminal. It'll come up. So you can do everything here without having to go to your ESX server or the Appliance Console, right? You can do it all from here. Okay, so the other thing is making sure that you have your online update registered. Okay, so if we go here, it's registered and active. Okay, you get this when you go to register it, you get it from your SLD. It's the online service desk online update registration key. That allows you access into the channel to get the updates, and your security updates as well as your system updates will all come through here except for the .1s. And what I mean by that is version 24.1, we had to prop up another, and we did a migration, a side-by-side migration, as opposed to in place, which uses the online updates. Okay, those are probably the most important things. If you need to reset the administration passwords, you can here. You can always go into YAST on the console and modify some of these other settings as well. But those are probably the biggest things. The other thing is if you wanted to see what your database configuration is from at this point, you can right from here. Notice it's local and the ports it's using. So there's some good information here, very basic, very fundamental for the operating system. And then we get into the service desk itself. These are more service desk related, and these are typically the appliance itself, OS and appliance itself related. Okay, so enough with the 9443. If you have file or iPrint, those other things, you probably have seen this before, just different icons for that particular supported product, right? So we'll go ahead and close that. That takes care of the appliance console, the appliance portal. Now let's get into the administrative portal, and you're gonna notice this is a brand new install. This is what you get. Okay, you have your sidebar here if you wanted to go in. This is your public portal that I mentioned. You says, oh, public portal, I didn't really realize. Well, that's really what we're referring to this as, because you don't need any authentication to get in here. You can control what knowledge, forums, and surveys and other things that are in here. So if we went to here, we could see that we have knowledge alerts, outages, and planned outages available for the public. And then here we only have 3, and I think this one has all of them. Okay, so you can do public alerts. They could do a public request for a particular product or item and be able to get service without even logging in. So basically anonymous. Okay, so this is the public portal I was referring to before. It's very similar. Alerts and outages, planned outages, so people don't have to go and log into the service desk portal to get there. Okay. Checking chat. No, nothing in chat yet. Thank you. We're going to go ahead and continue to the administrative portal. I'm going to go ahead and go to the login pages on each one of these just so we have them prepped. If we go to, I'm going to log in as my supervisor. I think I hit the right keys. There we go. So your administration console for service desk is the setup. Basically your setup. This is all your configuration for anything that has to do with setup in the portal itself. All right. The biggest part, actually there's a couple big parts, but you go into setup and then you have your email, custom fields, privileges. Privileges turns things on and off. And remember that ZSD webinar I talked to you that Oliver did? He did a great job of going through these. All right. Now I think he was on 23.4 or something. So we've added a couple of privileges, but not enough really to redo what he did. He did a fantastic job on showing those. So be sure to review that, and I did put that in the chat. Okay, it's also in the documentation. It's out on the YouTube channel. That was that webinar. But these are the different things. If you want the user to be able to do or not do things, if you want the customer, if you want requests to be able to do a certain process for requests, okay, and then the system. What do you want? Here's your public alerts. Okay, so you'll notice that we didn't on our public, if we went to, we could go here, public alerts, public surveys, and outages, they're controlled from here. Public alerts, public surveys, public requests. Okay, public knowledge base. So you can turn those on and off as you wish. All right, I'm not going to go through each one of these. I'm going to go through more functionality of showing how to manage some of these details that can help you in your environment. And I only say that because if you couple this with what Oliver did, it'll really be helpful. All right, and we won't waste time duplicating what he's already done. So one thing that we've done is, let's go log out, and we'll log in as our okay. You can see the colors are drastically different, right? Purposely done. You can color code this anything you want. All right. That again is in that customization cookbook. So your color coding all depends. It's under the privileges, setup privileges. Like I said, the privileges has a lot of different details in it. I'm sorry. It's under customize, customer portal modifications, and user portal modifications. Okay. And if we go to use them, we can go like so and hit save. Okay. And then the CSS, this is where the customization cookbook comes in. You'll see I made some notes down here. I like to put in the TID that it came from and then what it did. So you can see I've done some customizations on here. If I do hit default, these all go away. So make sure you have a copy of this. Okay. And when you're testing it, it's real simple to test because you make a change, it'll be available once you save it right away. You don't have to restart services or anything. All right. We've done a couple of things with the coloring and customization, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on that. We're going to cover some of the other things. All right. So I'm logged in as a technician, and as you can see, I have an alert flashing. Now, actually, I'm logged in as a technician, but I'm in my administration portal because I'm in the setup portal. This has one set of alerts, right? It shows I had ADS imports and they were successful. Now notice that if I just go to my technician part of my portal, because I have rights to set up and my technician portal, I have another alert. Notice this is different. Okay, this is related to the technician area, and the other one is related to the administration area or the setup area. Okay, if you go to the customer, they may have alerts as well because I'm logged in. Oh, let's go here. Customer. You can see my alerts as a customer. You'll see those SLAs that are breached. I'm a technician and a customer in this particular case, so it's going to show me both. All right. But customers can get alerts as well, depending on outages, those types of things. So, okay. So we'll get out of that. We're going to go fairly quickly through these. So shout out if you have anything, but otherwise, we're going to carry on through this. Some of the home, you could set your account default location. Now remember, I'm in as technician. I can set that I wanted either the setup portal, the admin portal, the user portal, or the customer portal when I log in. Okay. The nice thing about the technician using user portal is I can log into user portal, I can get to the customer, and it'll automatically log me into the customer. However, if I set it as customer for initial login, it'll log me into the customer. There's no link to get me to a technician. I'll have to log in separately, or at least go to the web. You don't have to log in because it has your credentials, but go to the new site. There's no link to the site. All right. So I like to do user portal unless I have a particular user that is heavy into administration. Okay. The other things is default home. How do you want it to display? What is your default? Do you want it to go to home, dashboard, which is this here, or do you want to have it go to tasks? Okay, and the tasks are requests. Okay, so those are my tasks. So that's the difference in the my account. So that's very helpful. You can set up in privileges the default for everybody to start off, right? And then they can modify that. Now you may ask, what about the customer portal? Well, the customer portal only has one portal, right? Unless you're a technician also or an administrator also. So if I'm an administrator and a customer, not a technician, I would have just those two listed here. Okay. Here's some notifications too. You could say, I don't want to, I want to know about the new ones, but I don't need to know about the escalations, or I don't need to know about the updates. All right. I'm just going to close them. It's a small shop, not a big deal, you know, that type of thing. You can put in custom fields, the job title. Okay, that's a custom field, CF, that I put in there for the user or technician. All right. Then you have vacation. You either turn vacation on or off from the systems settings, and then do we use it, or the privileges, and then do we use it? Yes, am I on vacation? No, am I not? This puts in a whole new cycle for new requests. It'll say, oh, he's on vacation, send it to number 2, or another person in that layer, or supervisor, depending on how your system's configured. All right, so you can actually put in different holidays as well. Okay, good to have, especially if you have a lot of people in and out, so those tickets don't get stale waiting for them to respond. Okay, here's the alerts for me as a technician, as well as up here, right? There's only one that's been up here so far, but this is the whole list. So you can see there's 185 of them. You can go back. Calendars you can link up with your GroupWise and O365. You can link these up with an RSS feed. All right. We did my account. Quick calls. We'll talk about quick calls in a little bit. Group templates, same thing. We'll talk about in a little bit. In dynamic forms, we've done a couple sessions on dynamic forms. Feedback is surveys, all right? And the surveys are over in knowledge, okay? One thing that I did find out is you can create a survey that has service customers, or service customers 1 and 5. You know, I should make that a little bit bigger for you. Service customers 1 and 5, right? That means every 5th one, they'll send this survey out. This is kind of like how did we do type survey. Now, you can only have one of those in your system, okay, at a time, meaning only one that is, see, this is the audience, everyone who has the ability to respond to it. But if we did a submit feedback service customers, you can only have one for service customers. And this is for all tickets. So there is a request in there to say, hey, what about incidents separate from SRs or org units, right? So that would be good. Now you can 1 in 5 for org units. So you could do different things like org units. The only thing is oh, let's go new. Sorry, surveys new. You could do org unit or by item type. All right, but it'll go out each time by that item or each time for that org unit. Might be nice to be able to have a 1 in 5 in the org unit, right? You have a large department. You don't want to have all surveys going out each time. And then roles, okay? You can see the different roles that you may want to have them send questions to, okay? So that's your surveys back over here. That was the feedback, which we don't have any to complete at this time in this system, okay? All right, we're going to talk a little bit about like this dashboard widgets coming up. You can actually customize your widgets through your request filters, and we'll cover that in just a little bit. Okay. So we did the default login page. Now we're going to get into some of the things like, let's get into quick call. Oh no, we're going to modify. I have my list here. So if you open up a request, right, or actually as a customer, we can modify a little bit about customers. You can modify this terminology here. Notice Digital Airlines is in here. I went ahead and entered all of that. All right, Digital Airlines, or you can remove these. All right, let me go to 87 customer. And if we go to open a new request, we see this is what we have, right? I created a couple quick calls and we have incidents up here. However, if we wanted to, where's that cookbook when I need it? ZSD Customization Cookbook. Nope, wrong one. ZSD Customization Cookbook. Should be 2551. Okay. If we wanted to, which one did I put in my notes here? Remove customer portal survey dashlet. Okay, we have a little bit of CSS to do here. So all we need to do is put this in, cut and paste this. Let me copy this. All right, and we'll get back to that. So we have 80 we're our customer, we're actually here, and we may not be using surveys. Now you can move these around, which we've talked about before, and we get it saved. So next time this customer logs in or you log in as a customer, this is how it'll represent. But if you're not using surveys at all, and this resets it back, if you're not using surveys at all, you may want to remove them. So if we go ahead, I told you that the customization CSS is, we're going to customer portal, CSS. We'll go down here, hit save. Now if we go back to our customer and hit refresh, it should go away. Not yet, hang on. Let me see if I save that. Control C. I'm going to move it up here. Okay, and we'll go ahead and remove this. We'll hit save. Let's go here. It didn't remove. I had it working over here. Super. Setup. Setup privileges. I'm sorry, customize. CSS. And we're going to go save. Now if I go to customer, survey is gone. Okay. I have to see why that didn't work on the other one, but those are the cut and paste that you should be able to do. And if we go back over here, surveys is back. Okay. All right, so you can adjust all of these. Notice this is just a generic text up here. All right. You can also remove these if you wanted to. Okay, depending on what you want. This color coding can all be adjusted. We talked a little bit about that in the previous ZENcast. This is the very generic. I just installed this with very minor changes in this particular system. Okay, 86 system. All right, let's go back out. Where was I? I was in 160. So to make these changes, right, we can go to the let's go to setup privileges, sorry, customize. And then for the user portal, we may want to go to the login legend or the incident legend and say, click here. This is 160, right? Yeah. Help desk to place any tickets about, and then we'll hit save. Now if we do a refresh here, new request, where did it go? This 160, customer, incident legend, new request, there it is, to place any tickets about any unplanned interruptions. So we modified this. All right. Now that's interesting that, yeah, this is, you could change this as well. So if we went to, there's service request legend, incident login, homepage store self, here's a request for DA systems. Okay, and we'll hit save, and we should see that modified here. Control F5. Did directly with, oh, click here. I got the wrong one. Create request for all immediate requests. Save. Control F5. And for all immediate requests. Okay. If we do this, we can see a little bit more. All right. So you're able to do a lot in this customized portals. This is where the text is, right? And then the customization cookbook is where you'll find the colors and some other things as well. Here's the different banners that you can put. So if I log out of my customer, you can see the banners there ready to go. Okay, so that's what we've done. All right, so that's managing those portals, giving a little bit of branding. We've talked a little bit about that before. Modify quick, yeah, did that. And then the email templates is the other one For the emails that are sent, you can modify these. So for instance, a close request, what do you want it to say? Remember that there's parameters here. You can make it personalized and say, like right up here, we'll add customer first name, space, customer last name. All right. And then that's getting it personalized. You can put in tickets, ticket numbers, item numbers. You have the request ID, the request URL. So for that particular ticket, you can insert that. So one thing that I like to do, if I go over to my 87 and I look at my email templates, I put which template it is, because sometimes it's hard. There's a lot of different templates. You got change, approve, service request, you got close request. There's a lot of different ones. So I put this in the bottom of it, especially when I'm testing, because when you go to that, and then I put it real small in real small text, right? Just so it's down there at the bottom. That really helps me go, oh, that came from there. When that email came in, it came from there. And you can see there's over 60 different email templates. Okay, and you can see I put in the request URL. I modified all of these to show certain things like digital airline service desk and so forth. All right, so that helps communicate a little bit better. All right, we talked about rearranging tiles and removing tiles. We went into the cookbook and got that. So let's go to 87. We're on 87. Let's go a little bit smaller. We're going to go to the user. The search, being able to search, if we open a new request and, or let's see, let's go, yeah, we can go, I don't know if I want a new request. We'll go computer IT downloads. Yeah, we don't have any items on here. Let's not go here. Let's go to the customer. So if you want the customer to open a request incident, let's say it's a printer, P3. So remember that this does a search out there and it'll pre-populate some things. All right. So you have a text search available to you on new incidents for the customers. Now that gets the customer going quickly if they know what to look for. Maybe you have them as asset numbers, the items are as asset numbers or whatever. That really is helpful. Okay. The other thing is the quick call templates. All right. When we go to quick call templates, let's log in as C. Clark, C. Kent. Okay. If we go to new, we see the delete. We can set up quick calls. I had one customer that didn't even want these. They just want to know, what do you need? Either a facilities request, onboarding, printer consumables, what do you want? And they gave them all quick call templates. Okay. So you can remove these, again, customization cookbook. But also the quick call, notice we have onboarding here, and this is a group template, employee group template. If I go to this, I've actually combined different dynamic forms so that I may need or not need to do some, for this onboarding, maybe I don't need a laptop, right? I only need a desktop, okay? This will open up now 5 different tickets, all right? So being able to not only have the quick calls, but having the onboarding or having the multiple quick calls as well, all right? And you can put some details over here. So that really helps. If we did that real quick, we could then go, yes, I want onboarding. I don't need a laptop. We don't need any items because we don't know what they are, right? I'm a new employee. I'm just saying I need a phone, I need a printer, or my supervisor is putting this in and it'll create those different, and they go off into their own work processes, right? So now if I look at my home, I'll see that I have different work processes in progress. Okay, and I can comment on these and so forth. All right, that's the customer portal. Now we're getting into the technician portal. We did coloring, we did alerts, we did default login page. One thing that was really nice that I investigated was, if we go to my user setup, this is my technician portal. All right, I created for a type custom fields for Precision T360. All right, here's some fields. And you're saying, well, I only have 5 custom fields. Well, actually, you can have custom fields do multiple things. So in this particular one, I have set up a list, and by default it's text, but I have a list of things that may be replaced part. Okay. Here was a scenario. A customer wanted to be able to track a particular part on machines that have been replaced, so they know what to order, how to order it, that type of thing. Well, by putting in this custom field for the type, because remember, this is the type of item, not the specific item. Okay, we're able to specify different things in this field, right? We can put a default value if we want. All right, possible parts replaced in the Dell T3600. All right, it's not required when I place a request against an item of this type, right? Here's the items. But let's go ahead and do that. And we can go ahead and put in Larry. It's an incident. We're going to search categories, desktop. We're going to say this guy here. Notice it checks it. Now it can ask me additional information if we want. We're not going to put anything else in. We're just going to say need Nick replaced. Okay. And we're going to say it's pretty urgent because I can't communicate right now. All right, we're going to go to that particular one. We can now say, as a technician, I could say, oh, he needs a Nick, right? We're going to do that. We got a particular purchase order, L55, whatever, right? We're going to save that. All right, and we're going to make it open. All right. By the way, those of you in Service Desk, using Service Desk, this save button will remain at the top now. So in the next revision, we were able to do that. So as you scroll, you can still hit save. All right. I'm just excited about that. That's been a long time coming. All right. So now if I look at my requests, and I hope I have that incident assigned to me. Yeah, need Nick replaced. It's Precision T3600. You saw that drop down, right? We replaced the Nick. There's that custom field list. And here's what it says, right? We put possible parts replaced in Dell Precision T3600. Now we can filter and we can bring in, we can now say incidents, sorry. I want to look up all NICs that are being replaced. You can see my new one is here because I've created a filter that on that item. And we're going to go hardware. And actually we wanted to do, which one was it? What did oh, yeah, item type is T3600, right? And then, so I was able to do just NICs. Now, the nice thing about this, we're going back to the beginning where we talked about the dashboard, is I now can go to my home. Whenever I go to my dashboard, or if my login tells me to go to my dashboard, we can go ahead, and I don't think I put it in here yet. Nope. So because I made a filter, a custom filter in my requests, I can now add a widget. It was for incidents, and I'm going to go to the bottom, and there's my nick. And I can add that to my stream. And if we look here, here are the three. And I'm going to move this up. So all of those filters, request filters, are widgets. I thought these were static, but they actually are dynamic depending on what you have. And there's Larry's, and you can go directly to it from here. Okay. So that really helps from the dashboards, technician dashboards stand part of you, right? And then you can actually report on that and see how many parts were replaced. Maybe you have some inventory to do and so forth. Okay. We got 10 minutes. My task, reply messages shown, filters. Oh, and then if you wanted to, as you're probably aware, incidents, you can share this. If we do this, we can then share this with the team. Okay, with either a role or with my team. Okay, to be able to, they would have this in whenever incidents is highlighted, they would have it in this list to be able to select. So as a supervisor, you can control some of those or give them certain filters to be able to run through and use. All right. Now they cannot modify it, but they can use it. Okay, so if you were to modify it or delete it, it would go away from their list. Notes customer required. Oh, the other thing, and that is in 87. Let's go to 87. We had some customers asking, well, what is this note here? Why does this only appear once in a while? If somebody replies to a note, why is this here? Well, if you go into notes, add a note, and you can, the other thing is, here's some templates. So if you're trying to respond, we'll get to that in a minute. So back to the note, if you were to say request additional information from customer and send that out, need info on Nick, and then we hit add note, when they respond, that will appear in your list here, right down here. It'll say, oh, somebody responded to that. Okay, I need to open that up. Let's open it up and see what they said, right? So if we look here, this is Sarah actually responded, okay, to both of these. All right. The other thing about notes is you can set up templates. Not this one. Let's go back to incidents, my tasks. Add note, and we'll go here. Notice these templates here, these responses. These are called responses. You have a common thing with a quick call. You're going to have common responses for the quick call, request log files, whatever, right? You can then send a note, and then you can notice I already have questions coming out for need information from customers. So we could clear that, or we could just add the note so they get another email. Those responses, oops, are under the item types. Again, if I go to, what type was it that I had? Notes required. Well, if you go into any of them, you have responses. Oh, here's one that has it. Okay. So these are the responses that you can put. This is the correct one for this particular type. So it's under types, responses. Again, not the specific item, but the item type. Okay. So you're able to send some responses to quickly set those up so that it's quick. Notes, oh, he's going to need log files. Let me just put in this template. Boom, you're done. Okay, you sent that off to the customer. It takes care of it real quick. Also, everybody's probably familiar with the gear. Okay, being able to put your columns in place and what you want to display in your columns, what team it may be, number of notes. Notice team goes at the end. You can adjust these. These are a little wonky on adjusting these, but you can modify this, the width and so forth. You can also take, for instance, group and put it over by team. All right, and it'll remain like that next time you log in. However, each one of these is different, and the reason why we don't have a generic across the board is because each one has different types of fields that can go in here. Okay, so for instance, change requests, you're going to have different things in here. Okay, but you remember that custom one, this would show the custom field if I had a ticket on that custom field that had input on it, like that, replace Nick. Okay, we shared with team, talked about the gear. Dynamic forms, we've done a couple of series of ZENcast on that, so you can look those up. We're coming down to the time here. Request responses, we talked a little bit about that, and we even have one over here that I actually specifically said we're going to incidents and 109.44. No, it was on this one here, which is my tasks. This one here. Okay. Email templates we covered, and then requests and systems. The privileges, again, we have that webinar on that. You can go through. Always remember that depending on what page you're on, right? So if you're going into setup and you're going to setup and you're in customize and you want to know about this, you can get immediate help right there. All right. It goes out to the documentation page. So it's immediate help of that page. Okay. So not to be just opening up the documentation, but it actually links you to that page to help you get through this. All right. We are coming down to the end. Let me see what we have as far as shoring things up. All right, so yeah, we're gonna stop there. A lot of information to disseminate, but hopefully you can stop and pause the recording and figure out, see where I really was in going through that, and get your environment tweaked a little bit so you can speed things up for responding to those requests and getting things closed and getting that communication complete. All right. This does have the ZSD Customization Cookbook. Again, we talked a little bit about that. We know that that actually has all sorts of goodies in it as far as configuration options as well as branding and scenarios. Okay. Don't forget that there is some troubleshooting down here, how to do some debug logging and so forth. The other thing is Appliance Console login screen mods is in here as well that we saw in the very beginning. Appliance Console screen mods, and then the best practices webinars link is in this as well. Forums and documentation. Remember that go out to the community and ask questions. I'm working on a few discussions right now. There's some great ideas out there that we're implementing from this ideas page. So please look forward to the 24.3, which we'll be releasing in July. It's going to be a good release. So here we are with our ZENcast live schedule. We did more ZenWorks bundles. Today was ZSD Portal Management. July, we're going to have ZCM version 24.2 and integrating ZCM with ZSD. And the futures, we're going to be having some Admin Studio and other things. There are links in this particular PDF for file or group-wise ZenWorks and iPrint webinars you can register for. Remember, if you'd like to see something in particular, please send an email to zen@opentext.com. You could see the upcoming schedule out on the website to see what's coming up, like the what's new, integration, admin studio, and then every ZENcast is in this list. So you can have links directly to the ZENcast and see what it pertains to and have reference to it. So the current versions, 23.4 is out there for ZCM. There's some links here. ZSD 24.2 is released a couple months ago. And Hybrid Workspaces 23.11. We should have another Hybrid Workspaces release in July. And then ZRS 8.1.2 is out there. These are the release schedules for ZCM 24.2. Actually, 24.2 will be in June. This is incorrect. I got confirmation from the PM today. And then ZenWorks Configuration Management CE, we will have an episode of ZENcast on that, so we get more details on what that is and looks like and what it does. ZSD 24.3 in July, and then Hybrid Workspaces 24.5 should be in July. That's what we're planning for. And then here's some more links for the community. The lookbooks are great because it gives you some details about comparison charts for different versions and what features are in them, as well as different videos on how to upgrade and so forth, and white papers and so forth. Okay. We have the on-demand schedule, webinars, and IDC was a leader in 2022 for OpenText ZenWorks. So thank you for that. The article is there. Partner training opportunities again, and ZenWorks Administrator training. You can see the blog. TTP USA, if you want to register, we talked about it early on, and some other event recordings. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and sum it up. Next ZENcast, the topic will be ZCM 24.2, what's new, and it will be released June. And I thank you very much, and stay safe. Thank you all for joining me today. Have a good couple weeks, and we'll see you in a couple. Cheers.